Observing and describing emotions is generally the skill that I like to start with if nobody has had any introduction to DBT. It's really important to understand what you feel because understanding what you feel helps to organize your experience, to clarify your inside process. Sometimes people don't have words for experience. They don't know what they feel. Or when you ask them, they may say they feel numb or blank. Sometimes emotions are really difficult because there's mixed emotions, intense emotions, or conflicting emotions. Sometimes there's multiple emotions piling on top of each other all at the same time. Part of the process of observing and describing what you're feeling involves slowing down, pausing the moment, which is also part of the mindfulness, and kind of going on into your inside space to organize what you feel. Part of doing this is trying to figure out how do you know what you feel, as in what sensations might show up and be present. There's a worksheet for this, and we're going to go over that with some detail in another video. But first of all, I just want to say that it's really important to understand and observe how you feel because it helps people to know themselves. When people get clarity of what they feel, they also get clarity about what they want, what they don't want, what their likes and interests are, what they find tasteful, disgusting, helpful, aversive, or what agitates them. And in getting clear about their inside experience, this also makes them better communicators. They can be more effective in asking for what they want, can clarify their intentions, and can advocate better for themselves. So feelings are also biologically based, which means that everyone has feelings, and feelings are universal across cultures, etc., lifespan. They arise within your body and they have certain functions, and in order to understand feelings, it's also important to understand what feelings actually do for you. What feelings are trying to get your attention, how they're trying to motivate you to take action, and how denying, inhibiting, and suppressing feelings doesn't necessarily work to get rid of feelings in the long term. So the other thing about feelings that's really confusing generally when people start to try to figure out how to observe and describe their emotions is that they often try to analyze or identify a secondary emotion. So a primary emotion is generally a feeling that's about a situation or an event, and a secondary emotion a lot of times is an emotion about an emotion. So if you're upset about something, say your dog gets sick and you have to take him to the vet, that's a primary feeling. You're feeling sad, distressed, upset, anxious, or nervous about that situation. But a secondary emotion is often the sort of sometimes critical voice about how you feel about that emotion. So if you're saying, I shouldn't be this upset, or I'm angry with myself about being this upset, or I feel guilty that I feel angry that I'm upset about that being this upset, and then I feel ashamed about feeling guilty and angry. It's kind of like a snowball, you know, when you put a pack of snow on the hill and the snowball starts to roll and roll and roll. And those emotions tend to get really, really big and sometimes really crazy. And then a person feels really confused about what they're feeling. So a lot of judgment and blame around the way that people should or should not feel. And sometimes there's a lot of cultural and familial messages that make figuring out feelings a lot more tricky, a lot more difficult, and a lot worse. So we're going to start with observing and describing emotions in the DBT skills handout, which again is in a different video. But please be aware that this work is not necessarily easy, and it is sometimes painful in being really clear about what you feel, especially if you spend a lot of effort trying to not feel things, or if your feelings are kind of volcano-like and they just sort of blow up and blow out of you and you don't really understand your actions. This also really helps people predict and control their actions and feelings. If they know certain situations are going to evoke certain feelings, they can also manage, tolerate, and cope better as they plan, anticipate, and understand their own process. So I look forward to working with you and learning how to observe and describe emotions. There's a lot of work ahead of us, and we'll get started in the next few videos.